Hi friends, I wanted to tell you about my new sponsor, PatriotRates.com. If you're sick and tired of paying high costs for your health, your car, or even life insurance, I'm offering you a solution today. Go to PatriotRates.com. They'll even give you a free quote. It's also based in America and ran by veterans. So do it today. Go to PatriotRates.com and they will cut your costs in half. Thanks guys, and enjoy the podcast. Hello and welcome, fellow digital soldiers, to True Reporting. It is the 26th of February, and on today's podcast, I have a very special guest with us today. He is doing God's work. I can tell you that right now. His name is Kirby Horrell, and he is with SavedInAmerica.org. Guys, we talk a lot about child trafficking on this channel, and this man knows firsthand how deep it runs. Kirby, welcome to the show. I appreciate your time today. Thank you.
Thomas, thank you so much for having me, and I want to thank all your listeners for taking the time to spend time with us so that I can let them know some of the devastating information about child trafficking in our country and how we need, and I need their help to help all of us solve it. We started Saved in America back in late 2014. I had just retired out of a wonderful career in SEAL team. And I was looking to go do vacationing and taking cruises, but that didn't happen. There was a professor from USD that had just finished a white paper on child trafficking here in Southern California, which was shocking. And I read that white paper. I couldn't believe what I was reading. And then I had to go out and on the streets and find out for myself, as well as some of the other teammates that also had joined me in this adventure. We went out and saw that these kids were actually being taken to raves by older people and asked these 14-year-old girls to dance on stage and be recruited. How long can you be gone from your house? You know, do your parents really going to miss you if you're gone 2 and 3 days? Really trying to recruit these kids and get them into human trafficking. That's what got us started, was that.
That's amazing. And I know, and listeners out there, you know, if you're listening to this podcast right now and any of this has happened to your kids, this is the man to call. We're going to put we're going to put his website up. It's going to have a phone number. You can contact them. You can volunteer for this group. And you guys are a special organization because everyone in this group is a Navy SEAL or special ops. So tell us how you guys work with law enforcement, how you get the operations taken care of.
Thanks, Thomas. Yes, I will. All of us are retired special ops people. We have Marine Corps people, we have Army people, we have Navy people involved in this operation, and a lot of people that come from alphabet soups organizations. We are here to assist law enforcement. We work directly with law enforcement. We let law enforcement know what we're doing all the time, so there's no conflict at all. How we do this is the parents will contact Saved in America through our website, SavedInAmerica.org. We will go and talk with the parents, interview with the parents, have the parents sign a power of attorney over to us for the child. We will do all the investigative work behind it to locate the child, identify the child, and then we call in local law enforcement who already know that we are in the area working to recover this child. Once we've identified the child, we will call the desk sergeant, and the desk sergeant will send a patrol car out, basically, to knock on the door and recover that child from that particular residence. Now, that child is given back to us. We have female volunteers that will take that child to medical care, do a rape kit on that, try to recover as much DNA off of that child as we possibly can for prosecution, that the city attorney and law enforcement can then prosecute to recover the cost to get that child into care so that that child can recover from this heinous crime. This is, to me, and why we are involved. This stuff is ripping at the fiber of America. When you start messing with our kids, you're messing with our country.
Absolutely.
And
How many kids have you saved thus far?
we've saved over 200 children so far, and we're going and doing more every day. You know, we're over in Las Vegas right now recovering kids, which is quite a busy place.
Yes.
So, you know, I mean, I relate it back to, even if I only recovered one, it was worth everything we've done. And
Absolutely.
that is the important thing, is that one child, and that's what we go after. We go after one child at a time, you know, evidently, and sometimes we find more than one child that are in the same location, and then we recover more. But that, you know, but our whole intent in going out and doing all the work that we do, the volunteer work we do, is to recover that one child and get that one child back to the parent, and then our job is done. Once a child comes down off of the drugs, once the child's back into some kind of treatment program, then the parents, it's their job to pick it up again. But what a hellacious job for the parents trying to bring their kids back to some kind of normalcy
Right.
in their childhood, because their childhood has been robbed away from them. And not only is it the child that gets their childhood robbed from them, but all of that child's friends, all of that child's people in the neighborhood, the parents' friends, everybody else. So everybody's associated with this. This is why we have to talk about it. This is the reason why we have to get out into our communities and let our communities know that child trafficking happens in every community in the United States, and we have to become aware of it.
Absolutely. And I totally agree with you. So everyone listening right now, this is extremely important. This should be shared on all social media. Who knows, if you there could be a friend of yours, a cousin, a family member, anybody could be dealing with something like that. Their kids go out for hours at a time and then they come back. These procurers, they know how to hustle these kids. They use Stockholm syndrome to keep their mind focused on basically the job at hand. Kirby, what states are you guys located in at this point?
Well, we're doing California naturally. We've been in San Diego. This is where we started. This is where the Matrix came together.
Mhm.
We're over in Las Vegas now. We'll be in Austin, Texas. We're working on Tampa right now. Our thing is that we have to be invited by either a governor or by a law enforcement, into the city attorneys, because we have to go in there and make sure that when we go to work in this city, that we're not um, interrupting anybody's rice bowl. We got a matrix that we have to work with. We don't want to upset anybody. We're there to assist them, and we have to educate ourselves in the right way to assist them, because everybody and every city and every law enforcement, chief of police, city attorney, they all have their little quirks about doing things the way that they do things. So that's part of our job. I mean, we have a team of guys that go in there and figure out how to do that. We have lawyers, we have judges that'll go in and sit down with these guys and make sure that we have the right way to proceed with everybody in the city, so that we don't have conflict. Because you've got to remember, we're there for one reason only, and that is to recover children from anybody that's going to do them harm and get them back to their parents.
How can a parent who has a child that's a victim of sex trafficking to get in touch with your group?
The easiest way for them to get a hold of us is to go to our website. We have a reporting thing on the website where they can go there. Not only do we have a volunteer button and don't we have a donation button on there, but they can go to the website and let us know what is happening. Because when we go into recovery, we have to sit down with them and actually interview them to find out exactly what has transpired to make this child want to do this. Because sometimes, the home life with these kids is not as pristine as you would think it is. So a lot of them leave on their own, and their parents, maybe they want them back, maybe they don't. There's a lot of things going on there. That's just the reason why we ask for the power of attorney to that child. Once we have the power of attorney, the child is ours, and it's ours to go find. So that's what we do. We will get the power of attorney from parents. We will brief them on exactly what we're going to do. And then our job begins, because then we need to find exactly where we are working in their city and let them know exactly who we're going to recover. We have a file that we keep on all these kids, and we will go sit down with law enforcement, brief them. And so that when we identify the child, when we find the child, we identify the child, we can call the desk sergeant that's on that night, and he knows what's going on, and he will send a unit out to recover that child at that particular location. Law enforcement actually takes possession of that child and turns them over to us, because we are the parent. We have the
Wow.
from the parent, and then we will take that child to medical care, make sure that all of the rape kits and everything else is taken. So all the evidence needs to be recovered so that the city attorney, lawyers can go after the guys that have done this heinous crime to these kids, right?
Right.
And if we weren't there, what would happen is that maybe the child would be found, maybe it wouldn't, but that child would go back to juvie and be set in juvie and deal with all the stuff that goes on in juvenile hall. Bad deal.
Right.
Bad. So that's how our system works. It's been working very famously. Like I said, we've recovered over 200 kids, and we've brought them back to their parents.
And that's the main goal. Again, you guys are doing God's work. If you know anyone, friends out there, who you know is a victim of this, you can contact Kirby at savedinamerica.org. You know, it's been in the news lately for past couple months about speaking of child trafficking. We think of Jeffrey Epstein and his ties to the elite, his ties to CEOs, to Hollywood, and actually former presidents who are all, you know, they have their names on that logbook of the Lolita Express. What are your thoughts on that, Kirby?
Well, you know, I can, like I said, when it barks like a dog and licks like a dog, it's pretty much a dog. So
Right.
Epstein, the question I have for everybody at Epstein is, how did Epstein make $500 million, you know, when he supposedly killed himself to give to his brother? Nobody knows how Epstein made all that money, or nobody's certainly not talking about it. He wasn't
Correct.
a stockbroker. He didn't build bridges. He didn't build freeways. He didn't build apartment buildings. So how did he make $500 million and own an island and own a ranch in the middle of nowhere that has its own airstrip?
Right.
Somebody has to explain how he made that money, if it wasn't because he was known for child trafficking, was known for trafficking. It's all over the news. Everybody knows it, right? You say you have a book on it and copies on it. So that's a question. It shows you how profitable human trafficking is. And
Far,
especially
far more profitable than trafficking weapons or drugs, correct?
totally. One of the child in the paper that was done by the PhD showed that if a child was trafficked for an entire year, it would make the pimp or her handler about $300,000. Now, each one of these guys that are involved in this trafficking, whether it's gang members or whatever, you know, they have more than one. So that's $600,000 a year. If you have two, that's tax-free dollars. That's that's better than anybody.
And you were telling me off camera about how they take control of the child through Stockholm syndrome. So it's easier for them to kind of manipulate what's going on. They can control the situation easier rather than having illegal weapons or kilos of cocaine. It's easier for them to manipulate and control a child.
Absolutely. I mean, you know, if the child, you shoot the child up on heroin and doesn't know what it's doing, right? It's
Right.
just it becomes a commodity. So that
Right.
you got to feed the commodity, you got to take care of the commodity, but the commodity's up and moving on its own 2 feet the whole time. You don't have to worry about, you keep them in the basement or you keep them in the garage, but when you need them out of the basement or the garage, you don't have to have anybody carry it. like you do with drugs and guns and everything else. You just say, hey, come on, we're going. And they get up and walk on their own 2 feet. So you got a movable commodity that's making you $300,000 a year is a pretty good business to get into, and that's the reason why we are trying so hard to educate the public and educate our society here in the United States of America that this is happening. And it's happening in every community and every state in our union. So make yourself aware of it and make yourselves do something to help stop it.
I agree. Where are these kids usually found? Are they with the pimp, or are they at home? Where are these kids usually are saved from?
They are, it's across the spectrum. I mean, we've recovered them from homes where there's been a couple of children in it. We've recovered them from the casa, and got them back into a safe place to stay. They've gotten out of community homes where they've been living into, and they have recruiters that come in and take them out of community homes, out of school yards. They get recruited. Rather than going home at night, they go out with the trafficker. So these are the kind of things. I mean, it's all across the thing.
Right.
You have to make yourself aware of it, and don't be afraid to ask the question. Because
right.
And Stockholm Syndrome does play a role in it, because these guys that are recruiters, they're buying these kids all these nice, expensive gifts, cell phones. They're buying them all kinds of things that they would never have the opportunity to have. So are they reaching out to try to do that? Absolutely. They're reaching out and just basically imprisoning the kids by all these gifts that they're giving them. And their parents have to be aware of that. If these kids come home and they've got all these expensive gifts, where the hell did they get them if you didn't buy it from?
Right. So if guys and gals out there, if you start seeing your kid coming home with expensive commodities, you may need to start questioning what's going on in your household, especially if your kid's going out late. I wanted to round off the podcast with you, speaking on our president.
Yes.
A lot of my viewers know that, and I believe in the past 2 years that this channel has been around, we're all quite aware of human trafficking. We talk about it a lot on this podcast, unfortunately. Have you ever seen a president as proactive as our president today, dealing with human trafficking?
No, I have not. I think President Trump has done probably more than any president or past president has done to recognize that human trafficking, especially of our kids, is a very, very big problem in the United States. And he has put together a trafficking department in Washington, D.C., members out of the DOJ, Homeland Security, Department of the Interior. He's put all these people together, very professional. They want to get the job done. We know some of them, and we are offered our services to them whenever they need them. So again, he's doing a great job with it. I want him to continue to do that job. I want the department to continue to grow and grow for a long time, because we are not going to be able to solve this problem in a short period of time. No. Because of the amount of money that is made from this type of heinous crime in our country.
You can go to the website right now, contact, volunteer, especially if you're ex-military, ex-cop. These are very important people out here doing this. These aren't Joe Schmoes. These are former Navy SEALs, special ops. They're using their military skills to find these kids. And this is extremely important. And Kirby, I can't thank you enough for coming on. This is extremely important, guys. So if you know anybody who is a victim of this, or you have any suspicion of this, you need to go to savedinamerica.org. Contact them if you want to volunteer and put in your time to help Kirby along with this. There's a volunteer button, contact button on this, and I'm showing you the website right now on here. So Kirby, again, thank you so much for being on True Reporting. This is a huge honor and very nice meeting you, my friend. Thank you.
Thomas, thank you. And thanks for having me. And thanks to all your viewers for paying attention to us. And now it's their time. It's their time to get out and act and see these things and report these things that are going on. Go to our website, savedinamerica.org. If you can afford to donate, please donate. If you want to volunteer, if you're a special ops guy, retired police officer, whatever, please let us know. We need the help.
Absolutely, Kirby. Absolutely. And guys, if you found this podcast informative and you enjoyed it, please subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at TRUreporting, and don't forget to leave a like. You can donate to this channel by going to my PayPal, Patreon. We have a P.O. Box and True Reporting merch. Guys, I want to thank Kirby very much for coming on the show today, and I will see you guys on the next True Reporting. Have a great day.